Hello and welcome to Gentoo. I'm Nathaniel Cochran.
And I'm Madalyn and
It's spooky week.
And this is your source for all things video game and tech related.
Let's start things off with this week's up and coming releases.
Call of Cthulhu, the official video game for the PS4, Xbox One, and PC on October 30th. This game brings H.P. Lovecraft's The Call of Cthulhu to life. In the world, nothing is as it seems. Sanity is irregular and all too often replaced by the whisperings in the dark. Your mind will suffer, senses will be disrupted until you question the reality of everything around you. Diablo III Eternal Collection for the Switch on November 2nd. The collection was originally released for the PS4 and Xbox One, and now it's going to be available on the Switch. And it also will contain some bonuses. It's different from the console versions because of the adventure mode. It's unlocked immediately. Although it will not have crossplay with the console versions, but hopefully it will in the future.
Taiko no Tatsujin Drum and Fun for the Switch on November 2nd. This cult classic arcade rhythm game from Japan, now in the comfort of your own home. You can play to the beat of your own drum with a wide variety of new songs and be able to challenge your friends to prove who has the best taiko skills. It's me. Taiko no Tatsujin Drum Session for the PS4 on November 2nd. This game will feature the iconic songs from Neo Genesis, Evangelion, Disney favorites, and tracks from Kimono Friends, Otsumu-san, Hatsune Miku, and Toho Project. There are also classic songs available. This really isn't much different from the Drum and Fun that we talked about 3 seconds ago, but there's, a few new songs. These games and many more will be releasing throughout the month, so be sure to keep an eye out for them. Up next, check out Bits and Bytes with Madalyn.
Here we are with another game for Bits and Bytes. This week it is themed for Halloween because spooky season is upon us. What's the game called, Jake?
Killing Floor 2. So what's the goal for you this week?
Okay, can I die in this game?
Yes.
Okay, so then I only want to die 3 times. Actually, let's do 5, because I don't feel that confident. This looks scary.
Pretty fun.
So
There's a zombie right there.
Oh my god!
They're evil elves. Look at them. They got pointy ears. Nice. Nice.
I'm gonna have nightmares.
You're doing really well. You're doing great. Keep work. Okay, they're all behind you. You just got vomited on.
Vomited?
Yeah.
That's so
See, it's like ticking.
unsanitary.
Nice shots. Good shots.
There's a troll in the dungeon. Where'd my other gun go?
This is the one. This is the one that you had. It's upgraded now. It's either more bullets. I can't remember.
Hello.
Nice.
He looks like he's whipping. He's like, what's up? What's up? I feel like this is Tinkerbell, and she's like, follow me. But no, I'm not following you no more.
Oh, they're breaking through that wall. Shot him in the stomach. You're doing so good.
Ethan Hiley. Well, these are like itchy.
What a name. William A. Lumpy Bob. Go Bob.
Okay, the people who crafted this, this is good graphics. You went in depth. Okay, stop it! Stop running! I feel like
I love
have,
when you smack out of nowhere. It's great.
I have the upper hand, and then it's like, nah, you don't.
You did so well.
So technically, I beat the goal.
You did.
The graphics were amazing. I'm gonna give them a 5 out of 5 on that.
Yeah. Oh, completely agree with that.
So the story plot of going to Krampus's lair and fighting,
Killing the elves and all
the waves,
yeah.
And then you fought Chicken Lord Man, whatever.
Chicken Lord Man.
Chicken Lord. You fought Colonel Mustard. What's his name?
I
Colonel
know.
Custard. KFC Chicken Man. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna say 4 out of 5 because 4 out of 5
Okay.
for story plot, and then last but not least, replayability.
I think you could play this a lot for cosmetics and maybe
I would want to keep
achievements
playing
and stuff
it,
like that.
but after I defeated him, I'd probably play it one more time because this thumb is cramping already.
Yeah, one is. So probably, I don't know, maybe a 4 on that.
4 out of
too.
5.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
again, the total of 13 out of 15.
Yeah, we're doing pretty solid.
average,
Yeah,
but
it is.
this one, I definitely recommend staying up Halloween night.
Yes.
Play this. You
Yes.
will have nightmares. I'm gonna have nightmares.
You probably could also up the difficulty too to make yourself more scared and die more often.
Or just do normal difficulty so you can survive and get to
It's
meet
true.
Krampus and
It's
see
true.
if you made the nice or naughty list.
It's true.
Yeah,
It's true.
but thank you guys for watching and stay tuned for more Gentoo.
Thanks, Madalyn.
You're welcome.
Jade Raymond has departed from EA Motive Studios, the studio that she helped found herself. Samantha Ryan is allegedly running EA's Mobile, Maxis, and BioWare studios, and will add Motive to her portfolio, which means she'll be in charge of all North American EA studios, except Respawn and EA Sports.
EA Motive has been working on an unnamed Star Wars title, and it did help DICE on development for the Star Wars Battlefront 2. That Star Wars game is the same one Amy Hennings had been working on before leaving the company upon the closure of Visceral. Raymond did say in an interview that her studio was planning on using a lot of the material produced by Visceral, but to pivot more towards player agency. This change is what led Jade Raymond to leave EA.
Respawn is working on its own Star Wars game called Jedi Fallen Order, which is expected to be released the holidays of 2019.
We will continue after some commercials, but first here's Aaron with Fluid Fighters.
Hey, welcome back to Fluid Fighters with Aaron, where I discuss some games with my favorite movement systems that enhance gameplay and make the in-game traversal a blast. This week we're going to be looking at Infamous First Light. Infamous First Light is a standalone downloadable action-adventure game developed by Sucker Punch Productions. First Light was released 5 months after PS4 launch title Infamous Second Son, and acts as a prequel story for one of Second Son's supporting characters. The player takes control of Abigail Fetch Walker, a young woman classed by the Department of Unified Protection as a conduit, someone who possesses superhuman powers. Fetch hasn't had an easy life. She's been homeless for the last few years, and along with her Mohawk brother Brent, has been surviving for a time in Seattle by doing crimes. Getting anything productive done is hard when the siblings have decided to remain under the radar because they made a collective rule that Fetch won't attract attention by using her powers. One night, she decides to break those rules in service of one last score before they leave town for Canada. It all goes about as well as one last score usually goes, and soon Brent's kidnapped and Fetch is forced to use her powers to get him back. Fetch has the ability to harness neon and utilize it as a destructive force, such as firing beams from her hands to take down enemies. On the defensive side, she can flee from combat in the blink of an eye. By using the neon to light run, Fetch can move around the map at a great speed, effortlessly moving up and over obstacles no matter what the structure. The player will use these neon powers to defeat enemies and traverse the environment while completing the game's missions. As you move around the fictionalized version of Seattle that the game takes place in, you'll find yourself chasing after lumens, pieces of neon energy that will allow you to enhance Fetch's abilities through a skill tree. These can be earned through other side activities as well, such as stopping drive-by shootings or leaving your mark with some graffiti. The game features no fast travel system, and I never really saw this as a problem. After all, it's just a small section of Infamous Second Son's map, and it gives you the perfect set of powers to get around without it being a chore. It just feels good to zip around the game world, whether you're flashing up the side of a building or using your dash to move through the air high above the skyline. They've also added clouds and neon gas that litter the streets and rooftops, that when sprinted through increase the speed of your light run even more and propel you across the city at an unparalleled speed. Throwing neon gas bubbles into the mix was weird at first, but once you figure out how to use them, they're particularly helpful, especially when you mix them with your other abilities that you get from using lumens. When mixed with the insane speed boost from the neon gas, your air dash and hover skills get new dimensions as you pinball from building to building, leaving a blistering trail of neon light behind you. First Light has a story, a terribly dull and predictable one, but it makes up for it with its tight gameplay that keeps you hooked for the duration of your playtime. Even after finishing the game, I find myself coming back from it time to time, as it requires a low amount of attention to speed across the city as a blur of color, taking out enemies with colorful blasts of light. Thanks for watching Gentoo. This was Aaron with Fluid Fighters, and I'll see you next week.
Welcome back to Gentoo. I'm Madalyn.
And I'm Nathaniel, and you just saw Fluid Fighters with Aaron. World of Warcraft Battle for Azeroth has had a rough couple of weeks. It started out as a great expansion, but quickly devolved into a mess of problems. This isn't terminal though, because Blizzard has found a way to fix one of the expansion's major problems.
Azerite Gear, the expansion's main form of post-leveling progression, has been filled with lackluster and uninteresting perks. The 8.1 Tides of Vengeance patch is what's going to be making all these changes. The biggest thing? There now will be a new vendor specifically for Azerite Gear, so acquiring the pieces you need will be far less random.
Currently, it's almost impossible to get this gear. From a Mythic Plus dungeon, the pieces don't drop at the end of the dungeon, so you need to open your weekly dungeon chest in order to get the Azerite loot. However, the chest can drop any piece of loot from any of the game's dungeons, which makes a pretty big pool to pull loot from. The chance of getting your best piece, or even something that fits into that slot, is extremely low.
While this doesn't sound particularly exciting, it is a pretty big deal. Currently, you have to be extremely lucky in order to do much in terms of progress. We don't have a concrete release date for the patch, but it's likely to become available shortly after BlizzCon 2018, so hopefully after November 3rd. Also a release date for Tides of Vengeance likely to be unveiled by Blizzard during the 2-day convention.
Now it's time for Monkey Plays with Cody.
Welcome back, guys, to another episode of Monkey's Minecraft Adventures. This week, we are continuing on our journey to defeat the mighty Ender Dragon. Will unfortunately couldn't make it this week, but last episode you guys saw us enter the Nether in search of blazes. Blazes drop blaze rod, which is a key ingredient so we can make Eyes of Ender. This episode we are going to use the Eyes of Ender to search for the end portal. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, so let's get right on into it. Okay guys, I'm gonna be honest here. I dropped the ball and I forgot to switch my recording length. So I didn't get to record the episode that you guys are currently gonna see right now, but I'm still gonna take you guys through the steps of what I did. So when you have your eyes, you wanna take it to an open area. So I took it over here and I simply threw it in the air. As you guys can see, the eye goes up in the air and drops back down. Eyes are reusable, but sometimes break. So we're just gonna keep going along this path. So as you guys can see, we are coming up on our old NPC village we used to reside at for the first couple of episodes. So once we get into the village, you can see this area over here very lit up and a few blocks with torches on it. When I found the end portal after I was done throwing the eyes up, as you guys can see, it keeps going over there. I just built that area so I knew exactly where everything was. So when you get close to the portal, you'll see that the eyes start going downwards. I started digging down right here. Alright, so we have made it. You'll know because of this type of cobblestone you're seeing right here. But I found the luck when I went down here. Kept going on you find a mine shafts by ours. And we take this first left and then down these staircase. And then through this door is the end portal. So this is the end portal itself. When you guys see it, you will not see this area. Like I said, I dropped the ball and I messed up with recording. So this is what it looks like now. Some portals have eyes pre-placed in there. Fortunately, I got lucky and I only needed 4. You may need 6. Some other people may need 7. So you're going to be putting the eyes in there. You're just going to be placing them like everything else. I wish I could show you guys. And when you do, it immediately changes to this. And that's the construction of the end portals. So that's going to do it, guys, for episode 7 of Monkey's Minecraft Adventures. Again, I am sorry for dropping the ball with recording processes, but I hope you guys got enough information that it helps you out. Tune in next week for episode 8, where we start preparing to travel towards the end. As always, have a nice one, and I'll see you guys later.
Thanks, Cody, and thank you for watching Gentoo. I'm Madalyn.
And I'm Nathaniel. Stay tuned for Project Delta.
Gentoo and Delta are each week, Monday through Thursday at 7 p.m.
And you can watch all of our amazing content online at facebook.com/Gentoo8 or on KNWT's YouTube page.
Now, before we go, check out Heavy Hitters with Nathaniel Cochran.
Welcome to Heavy Hitters featuring Nathaniel Cochran. In Heavy Hitters, we take a look at some of the baddest mothers in video games. This week we're looking at Batman, but the Batman specifically from Arkham Knight. So Batman is, well, you know, Batman. Utility belt, gadgets, kung fu punches, skin tight pants, that kind of stuff. But a few things that make this Batman different from the movie and comic counterparts is his detective vision. The detective vision allows Batman to gather information that he might not have seen with his naked eye. And what this means for you, the player, is that you can see items that you can interact with, and it'll tell you what that item does, and it'll tell you who's armed and who's not armed, and who's a direct threat, who knows where you are, and what they're doing. So the other thing that the Batman has in this game that makes him different from all the other Batman and all the other forms that he exists in is his Batmobile. Now I know what you're saying, but Nathaniel, all Batmen have Batmobiles. Well, in this game you get a friggin' Bat Tank. The Bat Tank has a 60mm cannon to destroy other tanks, anti-personnel bin rounds that shoot people in the streets, and a friggin' minigun in case you want to shoot some incoming missiles. Not only does the Batmobile have all these crazy weapons, it has an electric force field that friggin' sends people flying, so when you hit them with your 6-ton car, you can still keep to Batman's golden rule of no killing. Even though you just hit them with the friggin' tank. The Bat Tank also has charge abilities such as barrage missiles to lock onto other tanks and a hacking beam that takes control of the remote drone tanks to turn them onto your side. So personally, I don't like to drive around the game that much. I'd rather fly and grapple my way around Gotham, but like 50% of the game takes place in the Bat Tank. So if that's your thing, that's fine. I like to do the other half more, where you get to do a bunch of stuff like beat up other bad guys and goons like myself, and use all the fun bat gadgets at your disposal. So when I dress up as Batman, I like to take my time using his detective vision and get a good layout of my surroundings. Then, I use silent takedowns, as well as some well-placed trap to take out as many combatants as I can. One of my favorite gadgets is the Disruptor. When you level it up enough, you can fire it at an enemy's gun, and when they go to shoot it, it'll explode, knocking them out. So I would give the Batman a 9 out of 10 because he's the Batman. I mean, like, with all the gadgets and all the money, how can you not be a powerhouse heavy hitter? I'm Nathaniel Cochran, and keep watching for Project Delta here on Gentoo.
Hello everybody and welcome to a brand new episode of Project Delta. I'm Dalton Spees and with me today I have
Maywall.
And so we're out here playing the brand new Soul Calibur 6. It just came out within the last 2 weeks. And I love it because it has Geralt from The Witcher, who is fantastic. He's got white hair, he's got all the Witcher symbols just like the real game. And I think this game's going to be fantastic. What do you think so far about it, Maywall?
I think it's the best Soul Calibur gotten in a long time.
In a long time? I know. Recently, there hasn't been a new Soul Calibur in a long time, just in general. Like, not since last console generation did we get one. Sweet KO by Geralt there. But so Soul Calibur 5, it had Ezio, I believe, and it was just kind of old. And I haven't played it in forever. Soul Calibur 4 had Yoda. So there's been some really good like special characters in the series. So Maywall, what's your favorite special character that's been in the series?
I'd have to go with. I believe Darth Vader. Was he in like 3 or 4?
Oh, yeah. Darth Vader was in 4 alongside Yoda. I have to say, my favorite special guy they had is the GameCube version of Soul Calibur 2 actually had the Link in it. So you could pull out his bow and shoot people with it, or just, pull bombs out of your back pocket and blow people up that way. So that was really fantastic. And Maywall, I know you're a huge fighting game fan, not just Soul Calibur, but things like Tekken and Street Fighter and whatnot. So I want to know, what's your favorite just fighting game series in general?
Oh, I gotta go with Tekken.
And why do you love Tekken so much?
I think it's probably the most skilled fighting game.
Skilled?
Yeah, so the power scale in the game is in such a way that like any character has a chance of beating someone else.
Yeah, and I know you've told me quite a few times that your main is he's pretty low tier, but when someone knows how to play him, they can play him pretty well.
Yeah.
So far what I think of this game is it's really fun. I haven't played it a whole lot, but what I have played has been fantastic. The story mode is pretty decent. It's got voice acting this time, unlike 2, which I reviewed last year. 2 had no voice acting. It was just all like reading, and sometimes you just don't like reading. Of course, if you're paying attention, I just 3-0'd Maywall. In case you were too busy listening to the talk, I also walk the walk with my big 3-0 victory with Geralt, straight out of Rivia. He's my homeboy. Shout out to Siri and Yennefer and Triss all back home. They're just waiting for Geralt to come home. Maywall, who are you playing as?
Oh, the base of the game, Mitsurugi.
And what do you know about Mitsurugi?
Oh, he's a samurai, and he's never gotten the Soul Edge after 6 games.
Hey, it's eventually going to be his time. I know the start of this story, this game is Cervantes. If you might know him as the pirate guy who uses the one big sword and then the small kind of daggerish sword. He's the one who's got the Soul Edge and is just kind of running amok throughout Soul Calibur land, which is not great. Killick, he's a staff master, is the beginning story, and it goes through his struggle of trying to rid himself of evil as well as stop others from succumbing to it. But Maywall, I know one particularly hot take you have is you do not like the Smash Bros. Series.
Yep.
And so why is that?
Well, I'm especially biased against Nintendo, and I'm more of a traditional fighting game.
Traditionalist?
Yeah, usually 2D or sometimes 2.5D, like in the case of Tekken.
That's not. So, what do you think of other 3D fighting games like the older, like the Dragon Ball Fighter Z is 2D, very 2D, of course, but there's games like Xenoverse and Tenkaichi, which are very 3D. What do you think about those games?
I have no problem with Xenoverse. Well, the only problem I have with Xenoverse is pretty much the power scaling with like stamina. Everyone plays like the same couple characters or like a created character.
Yeah.
And I like fighting games where like people can play as like a variety of characters and always have a chance.
Yeah. That's why you not liking Smash, I understand, because I know there's a lot of competitors like if you know who Hungrybox is, his main is he plays the Jigglypuff, and he's like the only person in the world that plays him and is competent just because Jigglypuff has a one-hit KO that you have to be ridiculously good to constantly hit, but when he hits it, the entire audience goes crazy just because him hitting it is like so hype. It's like just fantastic. So I'm wondering, you say you're traditionalist and you like the technical side. What do you think of the technical side of this game? Like, do you like how fast it is? How do you like the ring out system? How do you feel about just the button scheme and the controls of this game? How do you think it feels?
Coming from sort of like more of the Tekken world, I'm not a big fan of the ring outs because it sort of forces you away from the edge of the map. And in Tekken, walls give you sort of like extra splash damage, so you force them towards it. So I'm kind of not used to avoiding the walls and the edge of the map.
Yeah, a lot of those fighting games, a big point within that is juggling and combos, and of course there's some juggling and some combos in Soul Calibur, but none like you can hit in Tekken or Dragon Ball Fighter Z when you're just watching it. It just says, "Wow, 100 combo attack," and it's like, what's going on? We're gonna finally mix it up a little bit and pick some new characters. I'm gonna pick Yoshimitsu.
Oh.
He might be a little bit of a throwback for all you Gentoo faithful watchers. You already know what I'm about to do to this man. Y button to win, and it's gonna be easy dub. But so, what? You said you played Soul Calibur 2. How did you play that when you were younger? Is it something you didn't get to until you were older?
I played when I was a lot younger. I had a cousin who was really into fighting games, and he was a big Soul Calibur fan, so he sort of got me into the franchise a little bit.
Yeah, see, I played it back on the GameCube. Like I said, Link was too good. Yoshimitsu, I didn't understand him because, look at him. He's just like a spinning samurai, and he was a little bit too technical for me to understand. But as I've gotten older, I've appreciated the one-button combos he brings, as you just kind of whip me here with Sophidia. But I'll come back. You guys just watch. Just wait until I get my special move or a special ring out. That's fine enough for me. So, of course, you talk about Tekken. Who's your favorite? Who's your Tekken main? Why do you like playing him so much?
Lee Chaolin. I started playing him a lot in Tekken 4 because he was semi-overpowered, and he was like one of the main side characters, and he's the only one that actually had a story that kind of made sense. Because usually with fighting games, I stick to like more the OG characters, and he's been around for a while, and he actually contributes to the story in a way that semi makes sense. He doesn't like die in a game and come back for no reason.
Well, that's going to be all the time we have for today. So I'd like to thank you for coming in and watching us play Soul Calibur, watching me whoop up on Maywall. Make sure to tune in next week for more Gentoo and more Project Delta. I've been Dalton Spees, and with me was
Maywall.
And we'll see you next week.
Hi guys, it's Nate, executive producer and editor of Gentoo. Thank you so much for watching. To see last week's episode, click down here. To see every episode of Gentoo so far, click over here. If you want to stay up to date on all of our amazing KWT content, click the subscribe button up here. Thanks for watching and be sure to check back next week for more Gentoo.